Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to today's Lunch and Learn webinar, in which we are going to be looking at how to get started with Associated College's internships. And we have four great presenters from each of the associated colleges to help share information about that. And so, thank you all to all of our career services officers who are joining us to share their insights on that. We had a wonderful university business mixer last week at SUNY Canton, in which we had the career services officers there sharing information with the people who attended, the business and organizational leaders who attended. And we heard a wonderful panel of employers and interns sharing their insights on how to make an internship experience as valuable and impactful as possible for the business or institution that is hosting, for the intern, and for the community. So we are very pleased to continue with a logical follow-on webinar here today to get into the logistics of actually securing an intern through one of the associated colleges. I'd like to thank the associated colleges of the St. Lawrence Valley, including Karen Cuss and Vicky Jaycott, for their partnership on this, as well as the Potsdam Chamber of Commerce for co-hosting these endeavors. So with that, I am going to we'll turn things over here shortly. I'll just give quick introductions here. Joining us from the St. Lawrence University Center for Career Excellence are Ann Warren, who is the Assistant Director of Employer Engagement, and Sarah Coburn, who is Senior Associate Director for Experiential Learning and Employer Engagement. Joining us from Clarkson University is Emily Sheltry, Associate Director of Career Development. From SUNY Canton, Katie Kennedy, Associate Director of Career Services, who lives right down the street from me. And from SUNY Potsdam, Max Gruby, the Internship Coordinator at the Lougheed Center for Applied Learning. And again, appreciation to Karen and Vicky for their partnership, as well as to Melanie Flack with the Potsdam Chamber of Commerce. So, with that, my part is done. I just hand over the mic at this point to Anne. So, Anne, why don't you go ahead and share with us your insights on internships with St. Lawrence University?
Yeah, thanks, Ben. As Ben said, I'm Ann Warren. I'm the Associate Director of Employer Engagement at the St. Lawrence University Center for Career Excellence. If you'd like to move to the next slide, Ben. And I'd like to talk a little bit about how we engage with employers. But before that, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what to expect when working with St. Lawrence students. We're a small university with about 1,812 students. That includes undergraduates and graduates. 36% of our students come from the state, and we have a really great group of international students that make up about 11% of our student population. 43% of our students double, triple, or have combined majors. So they have a lot of academic work during their time here. And we have a large athletic population with 41% involved in varsity athletics here. And we're really proud of the fact that 94% of our graduating seniors land in a career or pursue a master's program or higher after they graduate. Our most popular majors are economics, psych, bio, performance and communication arts, and political science. And we're really proud of the fact that Princeton Review named us the #1 alumni network for small liberal arts institutions. And we're also #4 top 20 best private schools for internships, which is something that we're really proud of. Next slide, please. And so when we have we've surveyed our employers and we've surveyed over 250 internship supervisors over the last couple of years. And the top um, qualities that you're getting from St. Lawrence students based on those surveys are we have really strong communicators. They are motivated and enthusiastic about the work that they're doing. They come to work with a positive attitude. They are highly efficient and productive and very resourceful. And so that we're super excited about that. And that's what you're going to get when you hire our students. And then the next slide are some of the ways that you can engage with St. Lawrence students hiring them. And so employers often come to campus and do lunch rush tabling. I'm sure you can probably do that at all of the institutions in the area where we would reserve a table for you in during the rush of a meal time where you can engage with students where they are. We also work with employers to create what we call inside scoop events and workshops where you would engage in a small group discussion with students or train them in something particular to your industry, like a skill. And if you're interested in hiring our students and finding out a little bit more about how to recruit them, this link will take you directly to our webpage. A couple of things that I wanted to share. St. Lawrence University Public Interest Corps is a program that's been going on for over 10 years now, where we pair St. Lawrence students with local nonprofits to do really good internship work over the summer for 9 weeks. If you're interested in that opportunity, you can apply to the community partner application that's due this week. If you're interested, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to put my email in the chat or my colleague, Sarah Coburn, who's also on the call. But we offer paid interns with a stipend and free housing on campus during that time. Also, for students who get unpaid or what we consider underpaid internships are able to apply for funding through the internship fellowship. We understand that there are some employers who are unable to pay their interns, and so we have funding. But before I mention anything, I saw on Emily's slides coming up about NACE's priority in having paid internships. And I want to say I fully back Clarkson and Emily and NACE's note about paying your interns. But we do have options for those who do get them. Thank you so much. And that's the end of the St. Lawrence side. I think Emily's next.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Emily Sheltry-Kuno. I am the Associate Director of Career Development at Clarkson. And just like Anne said, I think all of us truthfully are working together. My husband did a SLU Pig internship probably right when it first started. It was that long ago. And just loved it. He worked at the Potsdam Children's Museum. And that's one where, it's not just about helping all of you, it's also about keeping young people in the area. So super exciting. So a little bit about Clarkson is many of you probably already know some of our most popular programs are civil engineering, mechanical engineering, and then we also have a really great program called engineering and management, which is meant to really bridge the gap between the management know-how and the business side of things. And we find that those students, people aren't always familiar with that terminology of engineering and management, but they're highly skilled in both directions. We have chemical engineering and then really strong health sciences students as well. So that's something that our students are always looking to engage in. And then sustainability. So we have about a little over 3,000 students, both graduate and undergraduate. One of our points of pride is that we do have a 97% placement rate. And professional experience is a requirement for all of our students that are undergrads. And so what that means is they are always looking for internships, for research, clinical opportunities. And we also have what we call the co-op program, which is just like an internship, a student would come and work for an organization, but it takes place over the course of the semester. So they'll actually usually take time off from their studies and essentially go through an internship process, sometimes for the summer, and then they'll stay that following semester to actually work on a more kind of long-term project. On the next slide, we have, I just want to highlight my staff here. You'll notice we're a pretty small staff, but I think just like everyone here on this call, one of the cool things about being a smaller school, being sort of integrated into this community specifically, means that we're always happy to help you. So we're always happy to, if you have questions, for example, about, well, how could I hire an international student? Or how do I get started with, an internship program? What's the first step? We're here to help. So finally, on my next slide, I will also just echo what Anne said. We at Clarkson do not support or post unpaid internships, but that doesn't mean that that's not an option if you can't afford to, pay an intern. So we do have, for example, in our history department and our communication departments, really great grants available. And we've also had basically intern coordinators work closely with our faculty to kind of find ways around that if it is truly a cost concern. But the reason that we're so attached to basically the idea that internships should be paid is typically it's actually about labor rights and just making sure that everyone is treated, fairly and safely on the job. As far as engaging with students, we do host a lot of employer info sessions. So that would be when you could come to campus and talk to students, just like Anne said, about who you are and what you do. We notice that truthfully, our students, they don't struggle to find jobs. They struggle to understand what each of the different opportunities available to them look like. And so a lot of what I do day to day is just helping them understand, okay, so you're a civil engineer, but that can look like so many different things. How do you start to explore? Clubs and organizations, we have lots of great professional societies. I'll spotlight actually the Society of Women Engineers. We just had a great event with them where we had some mechanical contractors come in, talk about what it's like to be a woman in a field that is typically a little more male leaning. We have Greek life and volunteerism. I know a lot of our Greek life groups basically do need to have volunteer hours. And so sometimes if you can't pay an intern, we'll also reach out to them and say, hey, like the Children's Museum, for example, they do this great math camp. Could you help with that? And our students are willing to step up as well. And then I just have a quick link there about our recruiting policies and how to get involved. And then finally, I'll just end on career fair. I'm sure many of you know about our career fairs. I want to say we just had about 180 employers in September, and then February 4th will be our next career fair here on campus. And then I think SUNY Canton, you're usually either before or after us. We always work together to make sure that, if employers are coming to the North Country, that they could just one stop, basically. So, and I believe Katie is next. Yeah.
Thanks, Emily. Yep, I'll talk about our engineering career fairs February 6th, so it's just after yours that week. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. As Ben mentioned, I'm Katie Kennedy. I am the Associate Director of Career Services at SUNY Canton. I've been here for over 10 years in this office. We are small and mighty, like many of you. Julie Parkman is our director, and Debbie Flack is our administrative assistant, who is also our handshake extraordinaire. So anytime folks have questions about handshake, Debbie is our go-to person for that. But of course, anyone in our office can help you. So I'm going to talk a little bit about SUNY Canton, some of our majors, ways we support students, ways we connect with our community partners to offer internships and job opportunities. Just to get into a little bit about kind of our student population enrollment. I just checked with our IR office on our fall stats where we have just over 2,700 degree seeking students. Something unique about SUNY Canton is about 50% of our students are fully online. And many of those fully online students do live in the North Country and St. Lawrence County. So even if they're not on campus, they are looking for local opportunities. Majors in healthcare, engineering technology. Some of our students do their 2 years in engineering science and then transfer over to Clarkson, which is awesome for them. And then business management, finance, psychology, law enforcement, in those areas. And then our most popular majors include cybersecurity, applied psychology, healthcare management, um, game design and development, and some of our nursing programs. And like I mentioned, our office, we support students across all majors and programs to help them identify opportunities and connect them with jobs and internships in their field. Next slide, please. So the way that we support students with internships, and I want to echo what Emily and Ann said about we really we believe that students should be paid, so we don't post unpaid opportunities unless we're working with a local organization or a nonprofit or public service organization where we can connect with them to help support students through our living stipend for unpaid public service and nonprofit internships. And so that we are very fortunate to have SUNY funding to support students who want to be in off-campus internship opportunities. And we've actually developed some great connections with local organizations to offer these opportunities. I can see that Carlene and Megan from the St. Lawrence County Center for History and Culture are on this meeting. And I think this is our fourth semester where they've been hosting a SUNY Canton student who's supported through the living stipend. So some of the other organizations we've worked with are the North Country Children's Museum. We've had a couple of graphic and multimedia design students work with them. North Country Public Radio, if you were at the session last week, Richard Haller and David Summerstein talked about their experience with the internship. St. Lawrence County Center for History and Culture, as I mentioned. Recently this fall, the St. Lawrence County Industrial Development Agency, shout out to Lori Sibley, who I know is also on this call, is hosting 2 students this semester. And I appreciated too that Lori brought those students to the mixer last week so they could connect with other folks and employers to develop their professional skills. And so we've got some really great connections. And St. Lawrence County Sheriff's Department is another example. That's not an exhaustive list, but those are just some examples. But we know that some folks don't have the ability to pay student interns, and that's where we can jump in with something like the living stipend to ensure that they are being compensated and supported. Another way that we support students is we have what's called a needs-based stipend. So sometimes, as you all know, in living in this area, it's difficult to find transportation to a site. Often our students don't have access to that, or they might need support with gas mileage and things like that. So we do have money that we can provide for that. Also, for some students, childcare assistance is a cost that can prevent them from doing an internship or having that experience. And housing, like if they have to relocate or be living in another area to be able to complete that experience. So that's something that we are able to offer as well. And so that helps bridge the gap. As you know, many of our students are in financial need. And so it's really important that they have these financial support opportunities to be able to complete some of these wonderful experiences. Next slide, please. So I wanted to share some employer and student feedback as well. And this is based on, I think in the 24-25 academic year, our office supported nearly 200 students through our internship support opportunities with both on-campus and off-campus internship experiences. And so, what our employers have said, some of our interns have top-notch communication skills, problem solving, professionalism, love to hear this stuff. They're creative, reliable, and punctual, strong analytical skills, and comfortable working in a team. And right, we want them to develop these durable career readiness skills. That's what this is all about. So they're confident when they're moving on to their next steps. And our students have said great things as well. They've been given autonomy and the ability to work on projects by themselves. Supervisors have been supportive, approachable, and communicative, creating a positive environment that encourages growth, collaboration, and professionalism. And then guidance and consistent support and feedback have been really important. So again, these relationships have been very positive, and we want to continue at SUNY Canton to grow these relationships with local employers to create opportunities for our students that are meaningful. Next slide, please. So how do you hire and connect with SUNY Canton students? We absolutely encourage you to post any job and internship opportunities that you have in Handshake. And I know for many of you folks, you have Handshake accounts. If you don't, our office can help you set those up. And I know you would be able to post opportunities with all of our local colleges because we all use Handshake. So spring 2026 career fairs, those registrations are all open now in Handshake. And for folks that are nonprofit or public service, we waive the registration fees. At SUNY Canton, we offer specialized career fairs because we want to meet students where they're at. So for example, our School of Engineering Technology, we host that career fair in our Auto Tech Lab, which is in the heart of Neville-Dine, which is where our students congregate. And we want to be sure we meet them there. Our Vet Tech Career Fair is hosted in our Newell Veterinary Technology Center. And then we have our All Other Majors Career Fair, which is hosted in the campus center. So those fairs are all open for registration for the spring. Um, and like some of my colleagues mentioned, we have lunch and learn sessions that we can set up. We will buy the pizza and the cookies, bring you to campus, reserve rooms so that you can engage with students in kind of a more intimate setting in a sense, or we can set up tabling events for you on campus. I also recently completed or created a community employer partners internship request form. I don't think we can see the link there, but I'm happy to put it in the chat. So if you are thinking you want to host an intern and you want to chat with me about how we can help you make that connection, this will be a good first step for that. And then lastly, you can reach out to me, Katie Kennedy, or our career services team with any questions, and we're happy to help you. All right, I think that's it. Thank you so much.
All right, I think you're up there, Max.
Yeah, I believe I am. Hello, everybody. I am Max Gruby. I'm the internship coordinator at SUNY Potsdam, representing the Lougheed Center for Applied Learning. And so next slide, please. You'll see here our team, theme of the day, we're small but mighty, as has been mentioned already. And so our team is comprised of Sarah Lister, the Director of Applied Learning, myself for internships, and then my colleague, Michelle Burnett in Career Services. We also house student research here, and Tom Baker leads that. So there's actually quite a bit captured under the roof of the Lougheed Center for Applied Learning, which we lovingly call the locale. Next slide. Thank you. And so here's a quick campus overview for SUNY Potsdam student population. The overall enrollment is just over 2,500 students, and there's a breakdown of grad to undergrad. You can see we have a healthy, growing body of graduate students, online courses, and all that. But one of our proud points is also our first generation student body. You can see here we have 32%. And that's kind of a growing population. And so internships, career services are at the heart of meeting the needs of those first-gen students. About 20% of the student body at Potsdam completes an internship currently. I'll point out that two of our major schools are education schools. And so those are not necessarily internship requirements that are built in, but they do student teaching, but they still do have the option of doing an internship. And we always encourage them to do so. So that means that around 300 people year to year are completing internships at SUNY Potsdam, and our center helps basically process those centrally to make sure that those are running smoothly with the community. Next slide. So here's a quick overview of some of the nuts and bolts of our internship program. You'll see some commonality with the other presenters, but I wanted to just mention, because sometimes employers have questions, what makes SUNY Potsdam different and what do I need to know? So they are credit bearing at SUNY Potsdam. Whenever students are registering an internship at the university, pursuing an experience, they can do that for no credit, but certainly the majority of internships that happen on campus and off are credit bearing. And so they apply to the students' degree work, which we love. First-year students don't typically pursue internships, though they are invited to do so if they have support of their mentor and advisors. Usually they're encouraged to get their feet wet with prerequisites and then go out into the field, maybe year 2, 3, 4. But we basically tell students you can do them whenever, and that includes also academic terms. So they can do them in fall, spring, which are the most common. And then there's also a very short winter session and summer as well. The breakdown of credits is just something to keep in mind, because sometimes people wonder about the hours and credits. We just register them at, every credit is equal to 40 hours on site, and it works in increments of 40 up to a 12 credit 480 maximum. As long as that happens within the term, the student is good to go. And as I mentioned here on the bottom of that slide, students, we place them locally, regionally, across the state, global, remote. So there's a lot of options for SUNY Potsdam students to pursue and complete an internship. Next slide. This slide kind of breaks down some of our most common internships and also like the required versus non-required. We have a handful of required programs where students are doing capstone experiences, And so the internship is built into the end of their degree. Music business is a really good example, strong program for that, as well as exercise science, public health, graphic design. The credits vary in some of those programs, but music business and public health, for example, they do a 12-credit internship. So they're going out into the field looking for basically a full-time gig for their internship. So those students, they clearly require support to do so. And we'll talk about that in a bit. We also see some other programs on campus that are really popular for internships, even though there's not a requirement. Psychology is a really good example of that, where it is by far the highest performer of internships. The students and their mentors just understand that internships are valuable for that field, and so they encourage them to pursue them. All these students we've mentioned, required, non-required, all SUNY Potsdam students are eligible for our 2 forms of funding, internship scholarships, as well as the big one, and Canton also mentioned this previously, which is a stipend through SUNY that helps offset the costs of the internship. So students can use that stipend to claim certain expenses, mileage, material costs. The big one is basically hours, especially for unpaid nonprofit work, as has been mentioned. So we're trying to support students, especially when they're pursuing those unpaid experiences locally and elsewhere. There's really no limit to who can apply and ultimately what they can claim. We try to support a lot of the expenses. Next slide. So this is a list of our employer partnerships, just some examples. Couldn't capture them all, right? Even though I think we all love to. These are some of the ones we see year to year that are really popular across the campus. The nice thing about this is it shows the kind of spread of disciplines, right? We have museum studies, we have students in psych, whether that's Seaway Valley Prevention Council or going to CPH for behavioral health, students going to Renewal House, brick and mortar music. For anyone that went to the Mixer, brick and mortar spoke about their experience with our music business interns. There's a really nice diversity of internships on campus, and so we always try to provide these common options to students, as well as helping them when students come to us and they're pursuing to me, for example, for advising, and they're looking for an internship. Oftentimes my job is to think of our partnerships and then also think of people that I know in the community who maybe have not had an intern in a while, or I know are looking for an intern, and my job is to connect them to that employer. So there's a lot of connection points involved. Next slide. On this slide, this is kind of I wanted to just share the 2 big things happening on SUNY Potsdam's campus for internship programming. The first is the Presidential Internship Program. This is a program in its 2nd year now. And similar to SLU PIC, it's a summertime program only. It's a fully funded internship experience for students where they can register credits that get paid for. They get a really high value stipend to support their hours. And then they also have access to our other funding sources. So it's a competitive, high value internship in the summer. The QR code there, if you scan that, will take you to the employer page for the PIP, as we call it. That page outlines everything from program timeline, how the program works, how you apply as a site. It'll take you to the form. So everything, if you have questions as an employer, everything is there from the QR code. So this also involves a matching process between sites and students. They interview with us, they interview with the sites, and then we ultimately do some matching once we all confer in spring. Sites are applying right now. So fall is the period for site applications. That ends on December 1st. So there's still time to apply if you're interested. And then students will apply in the spring from January to March. The matching process will conclude in around mid-April, and then they register their internships through Handshake for the summer. If you have questions about the PIP, even if you visit that website and still have some questions, please reach out to me. Happy to schedule a call or email about any questions for that program. So the second one is internship scaling. This is a really big one happening on our campus where we are growing the internship requirements. One fun thing is that SUNY Potsdam is definitely in the lead as far as high impact practices in the comprehensive SUNY schools. So that's great. But we're still looking to grow the requirements of internships and field experiences. What does that mean for employers and everyone, our community partners? It means we need more site connections. We need your help. So we're going to be looking continually in the year ahead to continue growing those connections so that students have the solid options that we usually offer and new options that maybe we just haven't considered before. That's a mission that starts and that SUNY Chancellor's Office and SUNY Potsdam is taking it very seriously to make sure students are getting very good career preparation before they graduate. Next slide, please. So how can an employer connect with SUNY Potsdam if you want to do more internships, more career supports? Everyone in our office, Sarah, myself, Nichelle, you can reach out to any of us certainly, and we will connect you to the right person. So feel free to reach out. But also more targeted routes include the career fair, which happens every spring. This spring is March 18th. And so we send out mailers, and you can visit our employer page. There's a QR code at the end of my slides that will take you to information about the career fair. But that's a big one. And then another one is basically you can reach out to me and arrange some class visits. Similar to what others have discussed in this presentation, we are happy to connect you with faculty, with clubs, and the student body, and we can kind of serve as that that mediator to make sure everything's running smoothly and that you feel comfortable walking into a classroom, so you're not alone in that process. Other examples: workshops, panel discussions. There's a lot of potential, especially as we talk about scaling internships at SUNY Potsdam. So my role is to make sure that employers feel comfortable and informed about coming to campus and what their options are, and we want to have you, so please reach out. Other examples too I note here are similar to what has been mentioned. There's opportunities for job shadowing, volunteering, just simple mentorship, but something that I would love to see sites do even more is inviting students and groups to their site. And so if there's a class or a club or someone who wants to understand more about that discipline, or they're interested to learn more about your site, allowing for even a brief site visit to welcome them and explain what happens there is really beneficial to our student body. I should say our student bodies. So lastly, like I said, on this final slide that you'll see, there's a QR code that you can click, and that'll take you to just the internships employer page. From there, you can explore really anything as an employer. There's a guide for employers about how internships work. There's information about the career fair, and it'll also take you to the PIP webpage if you want to apply as a PIP site. So that's all I have, and go Bears.
And we'll pause here while everyone takes their phone and gets that.
Ben, I know
Thanks,
you
Max.
had saved this as like a PDF. Could that be shared out to the attendees so they have like just all of the links that are here?
That is an outstanding segue. So there's a couple ways that viewers can follow up on this, and even folks who weren't able to join us today can follow up on this. And that is that the St. Lawrence County Chamber, we've taken a recording of this webinar, and we will be posting it to our YouTube page. We can also follow up with the PDF and any other materials that the career services offices wish to share pursuant to the webinar. So yes, there are definitely opportunities to follow up on all these materials that have been presented. So I will, I guess, take the MC liberty here of sharing uh, our next event. And you all mentioned Handshake in your presentations. And of course, Handshake is the platform by which the associated colleges connect employers with interns and employment opportunities. It's sort of the universitiesmonster.com for those who are familiar with that sort of thing. So there will be another webinar on January 14th at noon on how to use handshakes. So we hope you will mark your calendars for that opportunity to see that.
Ben, do you mind if I say one more thing about Handshake?
Yes, absolutely. Please do, Anne.
Of course. So, as Ben said, all of the institutions on this call today use Handshake as their main career management platform. And I don't want organizations and institutions to think that this is a heavy lift. to use on top of the recruiting tactics you're already using, because Handshake is very user friendly, and the virtual webinar is going to really show you how to use it effectively. And we're also going to be chatting with other organizations who use it in tandem with the recruiting tools they already use, to prove that it's worth a little bit investment in the platform, to engage specifically with this local students. And so please take advantage of the January webinar. We're all going to be back on the call to talk about how we use it, the best ways for you to use it. And I promise you, it's a really easy process, but worth a little bit of time. Thanks. I also put the link in, if you don't already have a Handshake account, I put the link on in the chat for how to create, like the link to create an account. It is free for you. While there are premium features that you can invest in financially, you do not need to use those to use it well. And that's what we'll be talking about in January. But until then, you can create an account with that link there.
Thank you, Anne, for that additional input on Handshake. I will echo your comments that Handshake is a very easy, user-friendly platform. I have used it myself, and it is definitely easy. You note that you put the link to that in the chat, which you can see for yourself. And there was some other information added to the chat as well. Several of our representatives put in links to things such as the presidential internship or their employer engagement pages in the chat. So definitely grab those links so you can take the next steps. With that, I think we will turn to a little bit of Q&A in case anybody has any questions they want to add, or if the career services representatives wish to add anything at this time that they maybe didn't have an opportunity to cover or that just came to mind. So you have a couple options for inputting your questions. You can either add them to the chat and we will read those out for you, or you can raise your hand or unmute and share your questions. And if there are no questions, I will add my 10 cents relative to Associated Colleges internships. And that is that it is a excellent process of getting an intern and working with an intern from the Associated Colleges. The Chamber of Commerce has had numerous interns over the years, and it has always been an outstanding experience, very easy uh, to work with the colleges to get an intern. Really, these career services representatives help carry you and guide you right through the whole process. It's nicely structured. And the wonderful thing about having these interns, from my perspective as a nonprofit leader, is that these students bring, Katie shared some of these qualities that other employers have reflected on, and I echo those 100%. I love the um, energy that they bring and the fresh perspectives that they bring to the projects that they are working on. And a wonderful thing from the perspective of the nonprofit leader is that it provides an opportunity to tackle activities that support your mission that you may not all otherwise have the capacity to take on with your existing staff. So it's really a chance to do something that you want to do to advance your organization's mission that you otherwise aren't able to. And I can tell you, I have had interns from many of these associated colleges partners, and they have been outstanding experiences. So I cannot encourage everyone enough to pursue those. Career services reps, do you have anything else you'd like to add, Sarah?
Thanks, Ben. I would just like to add that one of the things that I am always delighted by when I am talking to my interns about what they have gotten out of their experiences as interns in our community, is how much they love opportunities to collaborate with interns from the other universities. I've talked to I talked to a student who was doing a project with Adirondack to Algonquin collaborative, which builds natural bridges between the Adirondacks and Algonquin in Canada. Um, and and she said that one of the things that she loved the most about her internship was the chance to get to work closely with students from Clarkson, and how much that broadened her experience of what the North Country is and what this work is like. Getting to work with other experts from other institutions made the experience so much stronger for her. So thank you to my colleagues at the other universities for all of the opportunities to get our students together. Anytime I've done that, the students are really grateful for that. So I appreciate that. And I'll add, I've taken on a couple of interns for projects that I've done in the community as well. One that I worked on, I've been working on for the past few years, is a project that is a collaboration between SUNY Potsdam's Wilderness Ed program, Potsdam Public Library, and the town of Potsdam. And the marriage of those three organizations is so much easier because there's an intern who is the central component of that partnership, that keeps us all together, that manages the communication between all three organizations. And that student in exchange is getting this network of people who have expertise in lots of different areas and resources in different areas, and he gets to see all sorts of careers close up. So it's a mutually beneficial thing. And so to the employers in the room, if there's someone that you've been looking to collaborate with and haven't had the capacity to take on that collaboration, an intern can be a really good way to explicitly build that bridge. So thanks, everybody.
Excellent. Thank you for those comments, Sarah. Great. Karen, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I do. I just want to share our associated colleges, career and internship representatives are more than eager to build these partnerships with our local employers because we know the multifaceted benefits that come out of it. And it's not just for our students. It's cyclical. It goes into the community, helps our employers, and it's a wonderful thing that we can offer to build and strengthen our community, which is great. I do really want to emphasize learning how to effectively navigate Handshake because it's a software that they all use. And once you've figured your way through Handshake and know how to develop the job postings and build your employer profile and all the good things, it's straightforward from there. You can access all the 4 schools fairly easily, it's a great tool to have. And that's the one that we're just always sending students to. Make sure you use it, and employers likewise. So please, please, please invest the time to learn Handshake and invest in it because it is a wonderful tool that we all use. And I want to thank all of our employers on the call for investing in our associated colleges students. And you'd be amazed to see the talent that comes out from these opportunities that you're going to create. So thank you.
Great. Thank you, Karen. Again, that Handshake webinar is going to be on January 14th of 2026. Somehow that's coming around to us already. Where did 2025 go? Great. So as I mentioned, we will be following up to this webinar to everyone who registered with a document that summarizes the information provided here and provides contact information for these wonderful representatives who joined us today. And I think my bottom line that I might share relative to getting started is to reach out to these individuals because, again, they're so good at guiding you through the process. So, and also, as I mentioned, we will be posting a recording of this webinar to our YouTube channel, which you can find by searching on SLC Chamber NY, so that you can go through and watch this again. We are looking to host more of the chamber is looking to host more of these webinars on various subjects in 2026. So if there are topics you would like us to cover or something you'd like to learn about, or even if there's something you would like to present on, please do drop me a line and let me know. And I will also note that if you're interested in joining the chamber and are not yet a member, you can find out all about that by going to slcchamber.org or by calling our office at 386-4000 or emailing us directly. So with that, I think we'll wrap up and let you all get back to your busy days. But thank you for joining us and taking the time to learn about these opportunities to have interns. And we look forward to seeing these interns doing wonderful things at your businesses and organizations. Thank you very much.